countries, with all the stories, all the stars, and all the celebrations. Join Tom Brokaw and Katie Couric live in Times Square. Start the millennium with NBC News, sponsored in part by Renaissance Hotels.
Live at Times Square in New York, where a massive crowd has been gathered since early this morning, waiting patiently for the stroke of midnight, now less than 6 hours away, signaling the dawn of a new year, a new century, a new millennium in the United States. The traditional ball, this year made of Waterford crystal, will drop at the stroke of midnight, and the celebration will begin here as it has been going on all day around the world, celebrations of beauty and hope. New Year's Eve, 1999, the dawn of the first morning of a new millennium beginning in the Pacific. In more than 120 countries around the world, it is already the new year 2000. In Moscow, surprising news from the Kremlin: Boris Yeltsin resigns as president. And end of the millennium jitters, computers, national security, banking, and health. At this moment, all is well. And here in New York, Times Square, the final countdown to midnight, 8,000 police officers among the crowd of an expected 2 million.
This is a special edition of NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw, reporting live from Times Square.
Good evening. In more than half the world tonight, it is a new day, a new century, the beginning of a new millennium. And so far, it has been a joyful, peaceful, and largely trouble-free transition as time now sweeps toward the eastern shores of North America. It began early this morning in the Pacific in large ways and small. Sydney, Australia, showing why it is one of the cities of the future. Hong Kong, now a part of China, but a city with its own distinctive identity, combining the modern and the traditional. Bangkok, Thailand, where the ancient past and present and future came together in a pageant of dragon dancers and delicate beauty. Moscow, the Russians gathering outside the fortress of the Kremlin to ponder a new century and a new president with the resignation of Boris Yeltsin. Rome, the eternal city, St. Peter's Square, where Pope John Paul, frail at 79, but the Holy Father had praise and admonitions for the faithful. Back here in Times Square in New York, the granddaddy of America's New Year's celebrations, where more than 500,000 people gathered early this morning, and they have been filling this square all day long. We expect the crowd could be as large as 2 million by the time midnight arrives. It's worth reminding each other that none of us will ever see anything quite like this again. The calendar turning to another 1,000 years. And as NBC's Jim Maseda tells us tonight from London, everyone wanted to be in on it.